Sometimes it's not the loudest person in the room who commands the most respect, but the one who has the absolute freedom to walk away from it entirely. While the alpha constantly burns energy to maintain his dominance over the pack, and others stress over their place in the hierarchy, the Sigma male exists entirely outside of their grid. He doesn't look for a throne, yet he somehow rules his own perimeter with a quiet, effective competence. But it makes you wonder where this rare breed actually comes from. Are these men born with a natural shield against social pressure, or did the world force them to build one? Stick around until the end of this video, because we are going to unpack the exact psychological blueprints of this mindset. By the time we finish, the hidden mechanics of quiet power will make perfect sense, and it might just change how you view every single interaction you have from now on. Number 1. Early independent play. Imagine a child sitting alone for hours, completely immersed in constructing a massive, intricate structure or sketching detailed designs. He isn't looking around to see if anyone is watching, and he doesn't care about joining the other kids on the playground. From a nature standpoint, his genetics likely provided a highly specific biological foundation where his dopamine system rewards internal stimulation instead of external validation. His brain is simply hardwired to find peace in isolation. But on the flip side, looking at nurture, growing up in a chaotic, hectic household where attention was incredibly scarce might have forced this self-reliance as a survival necessity. He learned early on that relying on others was a liability, so he became his own sanctuary. This early independence gives him a massive strategic advantage. While others rely on the loud intelligence of a pack just to function, the Sigma's internal reward system grants him the total freedom to master complex skills in isolation. So here's the question. Is the child born for solitary path, or did early silence steer him towards self-rule? Either way, total self-sufficiency is a quiet superpower. Number 2. Weaponized silent observation. You see him sitting in a high-stakes meeting, completely silent, while the average man scrambles and competes for airtime just to prove his worth. The Sigma sits back completely still and spots the one fatal flaw in the entire project before anyone else even realizes there is a problem. This disrupts expectations because the crowd mistakes his silence for compliance, but it actually causes deep curiosity when he finally speaks and breaks the power balance with one clear sentence. From a nature perspective, his biological wiring shows significantly higher activity in the prefrontal cortex, making his nervous system highly specialized for internal processing. But from a nurture standpoint, he might have learned through repeated disappointments that most social chatter is shallow, forcing a deliberate choice to only talk shop. By letting others reveal their hands through empty noise, his strategic advantage is the total freedom to outmaneuver the hierarchy. So, is this quiet precision a neurological gift, or is it a shield forged by deep social fatigue? The quietest man in the room is often the most free. Number 3. Sovereign internal validation. An average man will destroy his own peace just to chase a high-status promotion or fit into a prestigious social circle. But a Sigma male will walk away from both without blinking if it threatens his autonomy. This absolute refusal to play the game completely breaks the power balance because you simply cannot control a man who wants nothing from you. On the side of nature, he likely has a genetic baseline that is far less responsive to the dopamine hits provided by social approval. Yet looking at nurture, his environment, perhaps seeing authority figures display glaring inconsistencies, taught him to completely reject institutional frameworks by necessity. While the crowd remains slaves to the pack's opinion, his strategic advantage is an absolute immunity to social manipulation. Here's the riddle. Is the Sigma's self-made sovereignty a biological lack of a pack gene, or is it a hard-earned refusal to submit? When you don't need validation, nobody can leverage your weaknesses. Number 4. Trauma-sharpened strategic minds. In a chaotic environment where most people panic, the Sigma uses hypervigilance to predict and quietly avoid negative outcomes before they even manifest. While the crowd is drowning in the immediate stress of a crisis, he's already 3 steps ahead, calculating his exit strategy. This completely disrupts expectations because his eerie calmness brings a deep stillness to situations where others rely on emotional consensus to feel safe. Biologically speaking, nature might have given him an innate predisposition toward intellectual rigor and a nervous system highly sensitive to external stimuli, meaning he was simply born to see clarity where others see noise. However, nurture suggests that the storm of hardships and adverse childhood experiences chiseled away his weaknesses, forcing his brain into constant strategic logical thinking. His strategic advantage is seeing clear patterns in chaos, giving him the freedom to be the ghost in the machine who remains entirely unaffected by the surrounding storm. Here's the question. Did the trauma create the Sigma, or did his rational brain simply use that trauma as a catalyst for evolution? A centered mind turns any environment into a masterclass in strategy. Number 5. Logical energy guarding. The average man often wastes hours trying to fix toxic relationships or argue with difficult people, but a Sigma identifies an emotional drainer in seconds and sets a hard, silent boundary. He quietly cuts contact or limits his exposure without a single dramatic confrontation, leaving his own schedule completely uninterrupted and free. This sudden, calm boundary breaks the power balance because it deprives the emotional manipulator of the attention and reaction they desperately crave. From a nature perspective, he may have a high sensitivity to acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that naturally promotes calm, contemplative states over high-arousal social seeking. From a nurture view, hard lessons learned from betrayal likely taught him that unchecked emotions lead to catastrophic choices, or perhaps he was simply born with an innate distaste for unnecessary drama. By treating his empathy as a finite resource, his strategic advantage is the absolute freedom to handle massive crises with a level head. So, is this effective efficiency a biological state, or is it a tactical wall built to prevent burnout? Protecting your peace is the highest form of self-respect. Number 6. Calculated quiet defiance. Watch the average man nod eagerly and compromise his integrity just to please an aggressive, overbearing boss, while the Sigma male simply nods outwardly to avoid an unnecessary, energy-wasting argument. But behind closed doors, he is secretly executing a completely different, vastly superior plan that bypasses the hierarchy altogether. This utterly disrupts expectations and ensures his autonomy because authority figures realize too late that their titles hold absolutely zero psychological leverage over him. Looking at nature, he might possess an old soul neural wiring that naturally predisposes him to question moral absolutes and external structures from a very young age. On the side of nurture, repeated encounters with rigid, broken systems that failed to adapt forced him to the logical conclusion that self-teaching is the only reliable path. His strategic advantage is the absolute freedom to live by his own parameters without the burden of a loud, public rebellion. Here's the riddle. Is the Sigma simply hardwired for dissent, or was his independence forged by the obvious failure of the herd? True power doesn't need to argue, it just executes. Number 7. Post-traumatic psychological rebirth. Most people experience a major betrayal and spiral into permanent victimhood, but a Sigma undergoes a sudden, drastic shift from a passive observer into a highly skilled, hyper-focused strategist. He channels the pain entirely into his craft, emerging weeks later with sharpened skills and a completely calm, detached demeanor. This dramatic evolution breaks the power balance because the person who crossed him expects tears or anger, but instead encounters a deep, unshakable wall of competence. From a nature standpoint, this could be a slow-burn evolutionary process where latent genetic traits for independence are naturally triggered by spikes in testosterone and adrenaline, meaning his biology was always hardwired for this recovery. From a nurture lens, the crucible of adversity, raw pain and social rejection, served as the ultimate physical sharpener that turned his raw potential into realized power. His strategic advantage is a profound level of resilience, giving him the freedom of a man who knows he can survive anything the world throws at him. So, did the Crucible create this apex mindset, or did it just wake up a calm strength that was already sleeping inside his DNA? If you have ever used a massive setback to quietly rebuild yourself, drop a comment below. The fire that consumes the crowd only tempers the Sigma. Ultimately, whether this unique blueprint was coded into your DNA at birth or forged by the heavy hammer of experience matters very little. What truly matters is the reality of your present, an unshakable inner strength that operates entirely outside the control of the crowd. Every strategic boundary, every moment of silent observation, and every calculated move you make is a direct reflection of a self-sovereignty that cannot be bought, manipulated, or broken by a loud world. Your quiet resilience is far too deep, and your independence is far too absolute for external forces to ever take that power away from you. You don't need a pack to validate your path when you already dictate the terms of your own reality. The crowd will always rely on noise to feel powerful, but true dominance never has to raise its voice.